Welcome to BioShock. Now, BioShock is easily one of my most requested games that we've had on the channel yet, and I am so happy because BioShock is one of my favourite games of all time. And I've actually never got all of the achievements before, and it has been a little while since I've played this game. So today we are going to find out if BioShock is still the masterpiece that I and many others think it is by grinding all 65 achievements that this game has to offer. And today I want to waste no time at all, so let's get straight into it. Welcome to the achievement grind. So for the first playthrough of BioShock, we are going to start on the easiest difficulty so that we can go through and get all of the collectibles and miscellaneous achievements, as there are a lot to grab, before then going through on the hardest difficulty without using Vita Chambers, which is basically a respawn point, before finally going through the short DLCs and grinding those as well. So the game begins with us on a plane over the mid-Atlantic in the 60s. We're smoking, which is crazy to me, but more importantly we have a present from our parents. But shock and horror, the plane crashes into a title card. We thrash in the water, dodging pails and plane parts before we break the surface. Everything, of course, is on fire, but fortunately for us, there is a lighthouse only a moment away. When we head inside though, we are greeted to a statue and a sign that states, "No gods or kings, only man." Interesting, and since we are only man, we enter one of the bathyspheres and plummet straight into the ocean again. But at least we get some fantastic cinema whilst we wait. The narrator is Andrew Ryan, and he asks, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? Now, Andrew Ryan hates the government and decided to build a utopia on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean in which man could flourish without the hassle. What's the utopia, you ask? Well, Rapture, of course. A massive underwater city where artists and scientists could do whatever the hell they want with no burden. But in the bathysphere, we are taken to another part of the city, and when we re-emerge, we are greeted to a very worrying sight. A man getting ripped apart by something we would come to know as a splicer. Now, the splicer investigates us, tries to rip into the sphere itself, but she fails. A voice on the radio then shouts to us, and this man is Atlas. He aims to keep us alive, and he tells us to keep on moving to higher ground. He does a good job in protecting us as well. When a splicer returns, he shoos her away calmly with many bullets. He then tells us to arm ourselves. Would you kindly pick up that wrench? And with that, we have our first weapon. In the next room, we find a plasmid. Now, when Ryan first built Rapture on the floor of the ocean, he found a new kind of genetic slug that produces something called Adam. Now, scientists used Adam to create plasmids which could change your DNA to grant the user incredible powers. So when we inject this random liquid into our veins, they explode with electricity as we writhe in pain, before we then fall over a balcony and pass out. When we awaken, we hear the groans of a big daddy for the first time, as well as a little sister claiming that they have found an angel. But since we are breathing, they move on. And I've also got to say that all of this happens within 10 minutes, and this has to easily be one of the most interesting and gripping intros to any game ever. I love it. But now we're awake again, and now have the ability to shoot lightning out of our hand, which is rather nice, I suppose. But it's time to work our way through Rapture. As we walk, we see that this city is struggling. Corpses litter every hallway, and there are explosions and enemies aplenty. But Atlas tells me that he needs me to head to somewhere called Neptune's Bounty, as his wife and kids need saving, and he is incapable of doing so as he is trapped by splicers. So, would you kindly get a move on? I agree, so I move on to the first achievement. When fighting a splicer, they make a big mistake and step into the water. We then shock said water and electrocute them to death, gaining the achievement Toaster in the Tub. But spoiler alert, we barely use the weapons as the wrench we pick up is an absolute beast. But I'll explain why later on. In the next section, we get a proper introduction to the Little Sisters as she is harvesting a corpse. Little Sisters are genetic monsters that's main purpose is to harvest Adam from the corpses of those that they find. And Adam is the most important resource down here in Rapture, so everybody wants it, and will gladly kill the Little Sisters to get it. Like this man who turns up to do just that. But this is where the big daddies come in. Their purpose is to protect the Little Sisters, and honestly, they're pretty good at the job, what with the huge drill and brute strength they have, and he makes quick work of the splicer. On the way to Neptune's Bounty though, we get ambushed, because of course, and waves upon waves of splicers jump to their deaths because they do not have a brain cell to share between them. So once the wave is over with, we head straight to the medical pavilion for now. When we enter, the first thing that we are greeted to is the achievement completed Welcome to Rapture. A bit weird nerdy, but we're happy. Now, before we move on properly, in this game there are several things that you can hack. Sentry turrets to fight for you instead of against you, vending machines for discounts, and other stuff such as security cameras and safes. Now, you get a bunch of achievements for hacking different things, so when we enter the next room we tackle a bunch of them immediately. The first thing that we hack is a security bot. By connecting the pipes from point A to point B, it becomes ours and we gain the achievements hack to security bot and one successful hack. The next hack we perform is to the vending machine just left of that. Once done, we get the achievement hack to vending machine. Now, when we go to open the door to Neptune's bounty though, the key is missing and a man called Dr. Steinman has taken it and we need to get it back from him to move on. So we head to Steinman. We open the doors further into the pavilion though, things are not well. Blood, markings and splices are everywhere, but also some more things to hack. Firstly, a sentry turret. Once hacked, we gain the achievement hack to turret, surprisingly, and a security camera as well. We shock it and we hack it and it kindly gifts us yet another achievement hack to security camera. And we also find a tonic. Now, tonics can be found and bought throughout the entire game and can give better stats or abilities to 3 certain categories. Physical tonics, which can affect health and Eve, combat tonics, which affect our offensive and defensive capabilities, and finally engineering tonics, which improve hacking abilities as well as interactions with machine life. And for another achievement we need to collect 52 of them, so that's one down. Whilst exploring we also find a new plasmid, Incinerate. This one allows us to burn things of course, and we waste no time in lighting oil on fire and burning some splicers down to ash. Also, here is when we get our final achievement for hacking a specific object by hacking a safe and unlocking hack to safe. The one thing about this game is I really wish they had some fun with the names of the achievements, but I guess it is what it is. Stupid, unoriginal, boring achievement names. We then use our fiery powers to get access to a new room which has yet another plasmid inside waiting for us. This time it's telekinesis, and this allows us to move things from afar and catch bombs midair and such, you know, the usual for telekinesis. But we need this as when we find Dr. Steinman, he blocks off the way with a sign and then begins to throw bombs at us. But with him not knowing that we are simply engineered differently, we grab a bomb from the sky, clear the path and get ready for a good and tough fight. When we enter his dojo, we are greeted with Steinman complaining about beauty. Now, Steinman believes that being ugly is a disease and his purpose is to cure this said disease by making people beautiful. Now, unfortunately, he's not very good at it, but in principle we agree. So we decide to beat him pretty with a wrench. Now, as I said before, the wrench is crazy good on easy, and with a couple of well-placed swings we put him down, grab the key, and also get the achievement defeat Dr. Steinman. And now with the key we go back to get into Neptune's bounty. On the way though, we have another encounter with a little sister. A splicer is about to grab some Adam before a character called Dr. Tenenbaum shoots him dead. Atlas tells her that we need the Adam that the little sister is carrying, but instead of killing her, Tenenbaum, who is the person who created the little sisters, throws us a plasmid that will turn her back into a normal child, but at the cost of less Adam collected. And since we have an achievement tied to saving little sisters, when the little one scurries into a corner scared, we, as an empath, choose to res-e her instead of her-esting her. That was such a stupid joke. We grab her, and with a bright flash, she turns back into a normal little sister, thanks us, and runs off. But for now, we open the gates to Neptune's bounty and head off. When we arrive, once again this level is full of chaos and destruction, but this is where we find our first wandering large father, and I waste no time in serving him a delicious 5-course meal of wrench and bullets. And considering this is on easy, thankfully it doesn't take too much to put the Rosie down, and we save yet another tiny sibling. By saving 2 sisters, Tenenbaum says that she has a gift waiting for us at the next Gatherer's Garden, so we go to find it. A cute teddy bear full of Adam and plasmids is waiting for us, which is wonderful. We use said Adam to upgrade the amount of plasmid slots that we can carry and unlock the achievement bought 1 slot. We then head deeper into Neptune's bounty until we find a door and a deranged man behind it saying that he needs my help and I can't get past until I do a favour for him. This man is Peach Wilkins, and the favour he needs is for you to go and grab a camera and take pictures of a specific splicer called a spider. Now, apparently this research camera can analyse genetic materials from its pictures. I mean, okay, whatever, I guess so. And Peach wants us to research the spider splicers so that he can understand them better to take them on. So we set off to find said camera, and thankfully it doesn't take us very long to find it. Now let me pause here real quick, as this camera has a lot of achievements tied to it, mainly for fully researching each enemy in the game as well as doing a couple of miscellaneous ones as well, but for the sake of ease and fluidity I'm just going to go through all of the achievements that we got with the camera right now so that I don't have to constantly mention them again throughout the video. So, deep breath. The first achievement we got was for researching a splicer of any kind for research to splicer. The next we unlocked was for taking a perfect picture for quality research photo. God, I hate the names of these achievements. Now the next I'm just going to chuck at you rapid fire, as they are all to do with maxing out the research potential for each group of enemies. So the first we unlocked was for fully researching a leadhead splicer, then it was for researching a thuggish splicer, after that was the Houdini splicer, followed rather quickly by the rosy Big Daddy, before fully researching a spider splicer. But we're not done yet. The next was for taking at least one picture of every research group for Prophilic Photographer, then back to the full research for the Bouncer Big Daddy, the Little Sister, and the Nitro Splicer. And since the Nitro Splicer was the last group that we needed, by fully researching him we also unlocked Research PhD for maxing out all possible research. Wow, there we go. But we also managed to get the photos that Peach needed, so it's time to head back to him and gain access to the next area. He's surprised that we lived, but Atlas warns us that all may not be as it seems, and we need to be careful. His suspicion is immediately justified, as when we enter, Peach asks us to leave all of our weapons in a bin. So for now we only have plasmids and our meta wrench, which thanks to tonics is just getting more and more overpowered. Peach of course then betrays us and tries to kill us with a big group of smugglers as well. But Peach doesn't know jack about who he is messing with, and more importantly the power of the metal that I hold in my hand. So with some well placed fire and smacks we soon squash the Peach and gain the achievement Defeat Pete Wilkins. Job done. We grab our weapons back and move on to the first Power of the People, a station that can upgrade 2 qualities of your weapons, from more damage to better fire rates and such like that. And by increasing our pistol damage we unlock the next achievement, Upgraded a Weapon. Now it's time to find Atlas's family and save them of course. We head down to the bathysphere where they are trapped, but as we approach, Andrew Ryan blows it up and kills Atlas's entire family. Atlas, of course, breaks down and swears revenge on Ryan and his silly little city. But with nothing to do, we just have to delve deeper into Rapture, heading to a place called Arcadia. Now, Arcadia is the heart of Rapture, as here forests and plants generate oxygen that the city depends on. And it is here where we will find another bathysphere to take us straight to Andrew Ryan's office. You know the Big Daddy drill by now. We go through the level smacking splicers, gathering tonics and plasmids, as well as saving little sisters from their large fathers. Well, when we're not just watching the chaos for ourselves. Honestly, I think she was rude as fuck. Oh, sorry. Nicely done. This is also where we find the saddest thing that I have ever seen in a game. Why would you add that? Never mind. On a much more positive note though, we get our next achievement for inventing just one item at a U-Invent, unlocking Basic Inventor. It still doesn't take away from me hitting the cat, does it? Oh well. By exploring the level more and going after more collectibles though, we also found another Power to the People station and fully upgraded the pistol for yet again another achievement, one fully upgraded weapon. And because once again we're not done with the achievements, the next we gain is for hacking 50 different items throughout the game for Skilled Hacker, and finally we purchased all of the slots available for plasmids for maxed 1 track. We then go to talk to the professor who is responsible for creating and maintaining Arcadia, Julia Langford. We need to talk to her as Ryan has released a chemical into the atmosphere that threatens to destroy all of the life in Arcadia. So if anybody can stop Ryan from doing it, it's Julia. But before we can be formally introduced though, Ryan continues his murderous rampage and floods her office with a toxic gas. But before it can fully kill Professor Langford, she scribbles the code to a safe on the wall before dying, so that we can then find and make the formula for the Lazarus Vector, which will restore the forest to its former glory. Now normally for this you have to trek back into Arcadia to find all of the parts needed to complete the formula, but since we had just gone through the entire level looking for collectibles anyway, we had already found them all. We crafted the Vector at a U-Invent, popped it into the machine and deployed it, saving the trees better than Mr. Beast could ever. Sorry Mr. Beast, I didn't mean it. It's just a silly joke. Anyway, we gained yet another achievement, restoring the forest, and it's time to leave this level and to go and confront the son of a bitch. To Fort Frolic we go. piano. Now, Fort Frolic is owned and ran by somebody called Sander Cohen, who is an artist, a director, a gallery owner, and again, like those that came before him, a real bloody lunatic. But consider Fort Frolic the Las Vegas of Rapture. Here you can watch shows, catch live music, and gamble all of your money away. Now, the last one does sound mighty inviting to me though, so we start chucking all of our money straight into the slots as soon as we start the level. Now, we do nicely winning occasionally, but I'm after the jackpot, and after 20 minutes of constant spinning, we get said grand jackpot and our next achievement, Lucky Winner. We then go to catch the connecting bathysphere to take us to Ryan's office, but unfortunately Sander Cohen has other ideas, and masks and performers appear with him stating that once again he needs a favour. The favour he needs is for us to kill 4 of his disciples, take a photo of their corpses and display them for all to see. Now, murder I have no problem with, so we get straight to work in finding these disciples so that I can reduce them to atoms and commemorate their death forever. But before we get into the good old fashioned murder, we find another power to the people station and unlock our next achievement by fully upgrading the shotgun. Now, let's get murdering. The first disciple we find is Fitzpatrick. Now, when we find him, he is vibing and living his best life playing the piano. Now, he doesn't know this, but the piano is actually rigged with explosives. And after a barrage of lightning bolts doesn't do the trick, a single pistol shot blows everything up and we take the picture ready to be added to the wall. Now, honestly, there isn't really anything to mention here as it's a fairly repetitive section. Find the person, kill them, capture the likeness, add it to the board and claim your prize. You do this for all 4 of the disciples, so I'm going to skip to adding to the final picture. We find the last gen, we kill him, and add his picture to the collage. When we do so, we unlock our next achievement, completed Cohen's masterpiece, and Sander Cohen appears to marvel at the work. But we don't like him, so before he has a second to get comfortable, we take our trusty meta wrench and beat him to a fine pulp. And we get our next achievement by taking a picture of his body, ironically unlocking irony. Now, heads up here, I do reload the save and let him live instead, as we need Cohen alive to get access to a section of the game later on for an achievement and a power to the people station. So just a heads up about that. Now, thanks to completing his work, Cohen re-emerges the bathysphere and we can finally travel to Hephaestus to confront Andrew Ryan. Hephaestus is the power facility within Rapture and is the main power production source for the entirety of the city. It's basically massive engine rooms and tanks and smeg like that. And this is where Ryan's office is located. So we start to make our way through the level to find it. However, on the way we also tackle our next 2 achievements. The first is for fully upgrading another weapon to unlock 3 fully upgraded weapons, and then by buying all the available slots for tonics and plasmids a moment later, we also unlock the achievement Max All Stats. Now, there is a little to do here in Hephaestus, as to get to Ryan's office we need to find the parts to build a bomb, but honestly there isn't anything new here to really talk about, so let's just skip ahead until we're ready to approach Ryan's office. I promise you're not missing anything here at all, besides the collectible audio diaries and another power to the people. So, would you kindly hang on whilst we get to the important bits. We enter the lobby about to go up to Ryan's office before Ryan comes onto the speaker saying, "Well done for getting it this far, my old sport, but unfortunately I've grown bored of Rapture, so instead I'm going to blow it up." And he starts a countdown to explode Rapture and destroy the city. We can't have that, so we need to stop Ryan once and for all and do it now. We then hop down into a room where there is some really strange writing on the wall. Now, there are hundreds of notes and pictures of all the scientists, but 3 words are written in bold for us to see. Would you kindly? I wonder what that means. But we eventually make it to Ryan's office to kill the son of a bitch. He then goes into a massive speech about how a man chooses and a slave obeys. Now, basically, big plot twist right here. Through audio diaries and Ryan's speech, it turns out that we were actually born in Rapture only 4 years ago, but we were genetically modified to age rapidly. We play as Ryan's illegitimate son from when Ryan had an affair with an exotic dancer. Ryan also reveals saying that after he purchased Jack's embryo, a character called Frank Fontaine designed us to obey orders that all started with the phrase, "Would you kindly?"
Kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
And when Ryan and Frank's war reached a stalemate, Frank commanded us to board a flight and use a gun that was hidden in the present to hijack and crash the plane so that we could return to Rapture. Ryan then takes a break from the speech and gives a demonstration on "Would you kindly" in action. And Ryan, also wanting to go out on his own terms, commands us to kill him with the golf club and to simply obey. Now, curse or not, I'm happy to comply. Also, we gain the achievement Defeated Andrew Ryan. Wait, does this actually work? Let me test that. Would you kindly please subscribe if you haven't and like the video as well? Did that work? Feck it. Ryan dies and we grab his key to Rapture and go to shut off the self-destruct. Now, because there isn't enough plot twist here, once we deactivate the deconstruction, Atlas turns out to have been Frank Fontaine all along, and thanks to our work, he is finally in control of Rapture, just like he always wanted. What a mischievous little boyo that man is. And he thanks us for our work and goes to kill us. But thankfully, since we have been lovely to Tenenbaum and the Little Sisters, they arrive to save the day, and more importantly, our life. We pass out, and once we awaken, we are hidden in Olympus Heights with Tenenbaum in her safe house. She welcomes us back, thanks us for treating her little ones well, and says that she has dabbled in my brain, and now the phrase "would you kindly" will no longer work on us. Which is rather fab if you ask me. Now it's time to get into Olympus Heights for some answers, as well as to start our path to revenge on Frank Fontaine. Frank realises that we're not dead and immediately commands us to get stood on by a big daddy. He then realises that Mother Goose has been playing around in our egg salad, whatever the fuck that means, and now knows that "would you kindly" does not work. However, even though it doesn't work, he can still control our brain, and he tells our brain to stop our heart from beating. Now, it will take some time considering that the heart is apparently a stubborn muscle. So before anything more can be done, we need to break Fontaine's connection with us once and for all. To do that, we need to go and drink 2 different tonics to sever the connection. But before we get that, we have some achievements to blast through. So, once again, let me list off what we did. The next achievement we got was for fully upgrading our 4th weapon at a Power to the People station for 4 weapons fully upgraded. We also found Sander Cohen's room that I mentioned earlier and why we left him alive. We go through the door and up the stairs and unlock Found Cohen's room, as well as a Power to the People upgrade station again. We find yet another Power to the People station later on and fully upgrade our 5th weapon for 5 fully upgraded weapons. Next, we collect our 50-second tonic and also unlock the achievement Tonic Collector, before finally crafting every type of ammo available at a U-Invent station for Ammo Inventor. Now, through exploring and going for the collectibles as well, we do indeed find both of the tonics that we need to cure our connection to Atlas, Frank, or whatever this bastard's name is. But by breaking the connection, we also gain another achievement, of course, this time called, well, break Fontaine's mind control. Like, honestly, how hard would it have been to call the achievement "A Slave No More" or something like that? God! Now it's time to head to Point Prometheus where Fontaine resides, and once again to kill the son of a bitch. So we hop into the final bathysphere and head straight there. When we re-emerge, Fontaine greets us, and he has been taking a healthy dose of Adam and now has incredible powers and strength. So we chase after him, but when we catch up, he goes past a door and breaks the lock so that we can't proceed after him. Now, Tenenbaum has an idea. We need to turn ourselves into a big daddy so that we can summon a little sister to open the doors for us, and I like that idea a lot. So we start to head out around the level, picking up the pieces needed to convince the little sisters that we are indeed a Mr. Bubbles. But you know the drill, folks. We've got a couple of achievements to grab first before we can continue to Adam Sandler it up. The first we get is for finding and dealing with every little sister in the game. Of course, we saved them all, but for this we unlock the achievement Dealt with Every Little Sister. We also find the final Power to the People station and fully upgrade every gun we have for the achievement Weapon Specialist. And the next we grab is the one that worried me the most, to collect every single audio diary tape in the game. In BioShock, there are 122 different diaries that we need to pick up, and if we miss just a single one, the achievement will not pop. And even though I've been following a guide pretty well, I was extremely paranoid that I had missed one behind. But we approached the final tapes. Thankfully, we did it. It unlocked the achievement Historian, and that's all of the miscellaneous achievements we have left for this playthrough. Time to carry on and finish becoming a big daddy. We eventually grab all the parts, a helmet, a body, boots, and pheromones so that we smell like one as well, and with the last spray of some wonderful Rapture perfume, we unlock another achievement, Became a Big Daddy. It's time to summon a little sister and head on over to the final confrontation with Frank. We do just that and summon a little sister who opens the door for us. Now we get to probably my least favourite section in the game. Basically, for the next 15 or 20 minutes, we have to escort this little sister around the map so that she can drain corpses of Adam, like a normal Big Daddy does. But for me, this section just kind of slows the pace down a little bit too much. We have become a Big Daddy and we get past the door ready to take on the big boss, but instead we have to pause the momentum whilst this tiny git hoovers up some juice. It's not the worst, don't get me wrong, but I hate escort quests, and it's basically just that. However, she is soon thirsty no more and it is time to take on Atlas. But as one last bit of help, the little sister gives us her draining stick to use against Atlas, who has been juicing hard on Adam. We grab the needle and head into the lift. When we arrive, as mentioned, Atlas is juicing up, so we stop the process and drain some Adam from him. Now once again, the wrench is rather OP, and all of my tonics were to beef up the strength and speed of the swing, and just about everything you can think of to improve the wrench. So I'm just going to let some of the boss fight play so that you can get a true understanding on how powerful this small lump of metal is. This is the final boss fight. Come here, you bastard. We're done. That's it. Game's done. And within a minute, we put the glowing mook down. Well, kind of. He smacks me away and says that we're ungrateful to Fontaine, as he tattooed our brain with nice memories and Frank was a better father than anyone could ever be to us. But we also unlock the achievement Defeated Atlas, and before Atlas can get any further with his cringe speech, some tiny little companions come to the rescue and a small army of small sisters stab the absolute smeg out of him, putting Atlas down once and for all. A rather savage image if you ask me. But with that, the game is over. We unlock Little Sister Saviour for not harvesting a single sister before the final cutscene starts. Here the Little Sisters offer us the key to the city, but we don't take it. Instead we take all of the Little Sisters to the surface so that we can save them and that they can live a wonderful life away from Adam and Eve. They learn, they married, they had kids, and the final shot is of the Little Sisters coming together to hold our hand as we pass away. And that is BioShock. However, now it's time to go through the entire game again on the hardest difficulty and without using a Vita chamber. So if we die, we just have to go back to our last save instead, which honestly isn't that bad at all, just save often. In fact, I was honestly thinking that I would have to make a separate video on this as I thought survivor difficulty would kill me. Yeah, I knew it wouldn't have been as hard as Akuma or anything like that, but I was still expecting somewhat of a challenge. I'm disappointed to announce that it was really easy for me. We start the game again on New Game Plus and more or less just ran past the first few sections. And since we were playing it on New Game Plus, we eventually got all of our previous weapons, money and upgrades back, so we became an absolute tank really early on. We also picked up the last miscellaneous achievement that we needed for the entire base game that we didn't do in the first playthrough, and by inventing 100 items at a U-Invent station, we unlock the achievement Avid Inventor. As within a single sitting, we finished the game on the hardest difficulty without using a Vita chamber and unlocked 4 achievements, seriously good at this, brass balls, I chose the impossible, and a man chooses. And with that, the base game is done. Now we just need to complete the 3 short DLCs for the last achievements and get ready to tick this game off the list. Now the 3 DLCs have you complete small puzzle rooms in order to save Little Sisters. Once you save the Little Sister, the level is complete. And honestly, the achievements here are for the most part easy as hell. For the first level, we need to find a way to kill the Big Daddy without any offensive weapons. So by using turrets that are scattered throughout the level and making a Big Daddy run into them by using a decoy power, the turret kills the Big Daddy and we are able to save the Little Sister. We did it the first time and unlocked the achievements the Iron Team Rescuer and also the Iron Team Pacifist, which we unlocked for not destroying a single turret, something I didn't even know could be done. Now we just need to complete the level again, this time speedrunning it, and you know me, we have just done a load of games involving speedrunning, so this was an absolute cakewalk. We completed the level again in just under 3 minutes for the achievement the Iron Team Expert. And finally, for this DLC, we just needed to find the 4 roses scattered throughout the level. We get a Big Daddy to stand on this pressure plate, and that opens up a wall, revealing the final rose. And when we picked it up and the Little Sister for the 3rd time, we unlocked the achievement, the Iron Team Collector. 1 down, 2 more to go. The next level has us rescue a Little Sister from a Ferris wheel. Now this one took me a little while, as to charge the wheel we basically have to shock the switch, and for every shock it gets rotated once. It can be tricky to figure out where the next shock is coming from, whether it be from electric damage or electric gel, but we bit by bit rotated the Ferris wheel until thankfully we were able to save the Little Sister for a shocking turn of events rescuer. Now you know the drill, it's time to speedrun the level again. Now this one I did have to attempt a couple of times as there was a lot to do, and missing one step can really set you back quite a bit. But once again, thankfully, we saved the Little Sister in under 4 minutes for the achievement A Shocking Turn of Events Expert. Now the 3rd achievement for the DLC was to collect 10 roses this time, and honestly the roses were an absolute nightmare to find as this level is pretty in depth and large. In fact, I had to Google the last rose because I could just not find it. Turns out it relates to the other achievement of turning the Ferris wheel more than you need to, as when you do, a machine explodes and reveals the 10th and final rose, unlocking us the achievement A Shocking shocking turn of events collector. Now, the final achievement is for turning the Ferris wheel a total of 9 times instead of the 6 that are needed to save the sister. Admittedly, this one was tough to do as well, as I just could not find the last part to save my life. But we eventually find the last part that we need, give the switch one more shock, and unlock the achievement A Shocking Turn of Events, Master Electrician. Christ, why not just call it Master Electrician? Jesus! However, now it's time for the final DLC and the final 4 achievements. This one has us go through rooms and rooms of enemies that we need to kill in order to free the little sister from the dome in the centre of the map. There's rooms of big daddies, of splicers and turrets, and we need to kill them all. Once we have defeated every room of enemies, we have one last wave in the main room. We easily kill those that dare stand in our way and save the little sister for Worlds of Hurt Rescuer. Now, the next achievement we went for was for completing the DLC only by using the wrench, the camera and plasmids. Now, this was tough and definitely made it so that I had to use clever tonic use and plasmids collections to get the most out of each room. However, it did take us a good hour to get through it like this, but once again we completed the level and unlocked the next achievement, Worlds of Hurt Tough Guy. In the same playthrough, we also collected all of the roses that were available. This was much easier considering there was only 8 and there were fairly small and compact levels, so it didn't take me too long to find every single one, and we was able to unlock Worlds of Hurt Collector once we reached the little sister. And like that, we are now on the final achievement for the game, to speedrun the level in under 15 minutes. Now, that may seem easy, but there is a lot to do and not much room for error. But we relied a lot on the crossbow, as when it's fully upgraded, it is an absolute beast and we can pretty much kill anything in one bullet, with Big Daddies taking maybe about 3 or 4 instead. We kill the final Big Daddy, and with 30 seconds to spare, the door opens and we save the little sister for the final achievement, Worlds of Hurt Expert. With that, everything has been completed. There is nothing more we can do in this game. The grind is over. Now, as I mentioned before, BioShock is easily one of my favourite games of all time, and playing through this now has only cemented this fact, as I reckon this game, along with Banjo-Kazooie and Ratchet & Clank 2, will always be in my top 5 games of all time. I doubt it will ever get dethroned. I don't even think the nostalgia is my reason for the love of this game. Like, don't get me wrong, nostalgia will always help, but when I played this, I just sunk into it like I did many times before, and I genuinely couldn't wait to continue and play this game. Its pacing for the most part is wonderful, it has a phenomenal story, and the setting is rich and beautiful. The characters are fine, but the enemies are the clear standout, with the Big Daddies, the Little Sisters and the Splicers. Like, honestly, I can't think of a single complaint I have about this game. I stand by this statement. BioShock is absolute perfection and one of the best games ever made. End of. So, with that, let's get to the stats. It took us nearly 23 hours to grind all 65 achievements that this game has to offer, which honestly is nowhere near as low as I was expecting. And everyone, please give BioShock a massive round of applause, as it is the first game on the channel that I can comfortably give a well-deserved 10 out of 10. As I said, this game is perfect, simply perfect. For the difficulty of the achievements though, I will have to give it a 4 out of 10, as there are tricky collectibles to get and a couple of difficulty related achievements. However, these aren't anywhere near as painful as they sound, as long as you prepare well for them. I would say that the hardest achievement though would have to be I chose the impossible for completing the game on Survivor without using a Vita Chamber. Even though I said I didn't really struggle with this difficulty at all, it is still without question the hardest that the game has to offer. And with that, the first BioShock is done. Now, of course, we are going to be covering the sequel very soon, but I just want a little bio break before we tackle that, as I still have some series that I need to finish off first. But next week, make sure you come back as we tackle one of the weirdest games yet. On Sunday, we are going to be fighting a train spider, and I mean that very, very sincerely. In this game, we are tasked to tackle on a local monster, Choo Choo Charles, a Nightmare Thomas the Tank Engine with only murder on its mind. How will we defeat such a deadly monster? Well, come back next Sunday to find out. And once again, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it all still. You are all amazing. And also make sure to come follow me on Twitch to catch the Achievement Grind live as well. But that's it for this week. Thank you all again. I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.